I started rugby relatively late, I would say, for Ireland. I played Gaelic football when I was a kid in primary school, so that's between the ages of like 4 and 12. But the advantage of that is it's the skills you learn there are very transferable. So it's a lot of ball skills. It's kind of a mixture between rugby and soccer. So you're playing with a round ball, so you get good ball skills, good baseline fitness, I suppose. But then going to rugby, my baptism of rugby was when I moved to boarding school at around 12. Moved to a school called Clongowes, where rugby was the main sport. It was really what made the school tick down there. So as you can imagine, in boarding school, there's not much else to do apart from play rugby. So we had that every day after school. For 6 years, you're training 3-4 times a week, one or two games a week. So as you can imagine there, you're getting a lot of exposure to the game at a young age from like, I remember going there, and at the start I didn't even know what position I should go. You go down and you mark your positions down at the start, and people were telling me where I should go, what I should do. And I was a bit of a chubby kid, so I actually started off at loose head prop. That's where I played rugby for the first 2 years. And I just remember wanting to get a bit further out, to get a bit more exposure to the ball. I wasn't a huge fan of scrums, so that was probably my biggest motivation. And I got a bit of a growth spurt then as well, around 14, 15. So I made a move back out to the back row, and that's where I stayed from about 15 onwards. And yeah, I really loved it there. I found it was the perfect mix of physicality and ball skills. You kind of felt like you're the link between the forwards and the backs, which I really liked. I liked to get the ball in a bit more open play. So that allowed me to do that at 8. Throughout then school, I made the junior cup team, which was a big target for me. Like that was, so you have the junior cup and the senior cup team. Junior cup is around 15 years old. Seniors is your last year, about 17, 18. So that was a big achievement for me. And then thinking about like where that would transition to after school, like whether that would transition to Ireland or Leinster, that wasn't really a thought process for me at that stage. I was really just focusing on, can I make the team in the school I'm at? And thankfully I was able to do that. Moving forward to seniors, then that's where you start thinking a little bit more about, okay, wait, if I'm making the team here, we're playing against other people who are playing for Leinster, and I'm able to hold my own. And that's where you start thinking maybe that's somewhere I want to go or somewhere I can go. So it was about 17 or 18 then I made the Leinster under 18 schools team, which was like growing up seeing professional players on TV wearing this jersey. When you get to pull on the same jersey that these guys are wearing, that's like a watershed moment in your eyes. You're like, wow, I can wear the same jersey that these guys that I thought were kind of, untouchable are wearing. Although it's at a different age level, it's still kind of a momentous time for you. So I played there, got on well, and really just kept, I never really had this grander plan that, okay, I'm going to do this is going to get me there. It was more just kind of take it one step at a time, get to the next level, and then see if you can push to the next level. And that thankfully served me pretty well. When I came out of school, then I came off the back of an Ireland under 18 schools tour. That was in my final year. We went to Spain. We played in European Championships there, and we had a pretty decent run. We got to the final. We lost to a really strong England team. But we had a good run, and that probably gave me exposure then to be considered for the Leinster Sub Academy. So I went into the Leinster Sub Academy that summer and played Leinster under 20s then. And the training setup for the Leinster under 20s is pretty close to what a professional team is doing. You're dedicating your whole summer. A lot of guys who would move up to Dublin. You're training twice a day for the summer preseason, and then you have an inter-provincial series at the end of the summer versus Ulster, Munster, and Connacht. So that was the next step for me. And from there, then I stuck at the Sub Academy for a couple of years, played under 20s for Ireland in the couple of Six Nations, couple of Junior World Cups. And that was where I was aiming for. I'd always wanted to play for Ireland. That was like a big dream for me. So being able to achieve that at under 20 level was amazing. And from there, then I suppose the next logical step was the Leinster Academy, and thankfully I got selected for that after a couple of under 20s tours. And then it's just once you get in there, it's about putting your head down, working to improve yourself. You're with people who have worked hard to be there as well, so the competition level is very high, and it was a great environment to be around, just to see like those players that you grew up watching, to see what they did, to see their level of dedication, their work. Like what you see on the weekend on the TV is just very much the tip of the iceberg versus everything that's gone in behind that. So I really enjoyed it. I was there in the academy for 3 years. Then with that translated to the senior squad for a year after that, and get exposed to high performing people, like, and really nice, genuine, down to earth people. Like I couldn't have better words to say about them. So then that kind of, I came to I was like 23, 24, and the Leinster back row was pretty competitive at that time. I remember sitting there at one stage being like, I think I counted 7 international back rows on the squad that I was trying to break into. So I was always kind of focused on the academic side of things in parallel with rugby, and then it kind of came to a crossroads at that moment. Balancing rugby and studies, it's not easy. It definitely takes a bit of determination and focus, and a bit of encouragement at times, I would say, but it's definitely doable. It's really just about prioritizing your time, and that's something that you learn to do pretty quickly when you're training intensely for rugby. There's countless examples across the rugby sphere of guys like Jamie Roberts, for example, who was a doctor and he played for the Lions at the same time. Felipe Contepomi is another player in Leinster that they always used to take out, also a doctor. Josh Murphy, who's a current player at Leinster, is also training to be a doctor too. And so really, like, training to be a doctor is one thing I was studying. Like, I couldn't really complain. You can kind of work in your own flexible time. And it's really just about prioritizing time and having motivation, because it's definitely doable. There's enough hours in the day. But sometimes it can feel otherwise, for sure.